This is the first time Toyota has built something that can actually embarrass Porsche on a racetrack, where one is stepping into a new level and the other has been here before. And here's the problem. If Toyota gets this right, it doesn't just beat the 911 GT3, it changes who's allowed to build real driver cars anymore. On paper, both of these cars are fast, but engine character isn't about numbers. It's about how the car responds when you floor it. And this is where these two feel completely different. Both engines make serious power, but what actually separates them when you're driving hard? The 911 GT3's naturally aspirated flat six is all about response. The GT3 makes around 510 horsepower, but more importantly, it does 0 to 100 in roughly 3.4 seconds, without turbo torque to save you. The throttle is drive-by-wire, and the power builds all the way to 9,000 RPMs, and the engine stays sharp right at the top. You feel every gear change, every input, and every mistake because the engine doesn't help you out with extra torque. Miss the revs, and you lose momentum. Get it right, and the car rewards you instantly. It's loud and constantly demanding, and that's exactly why drivers love it. The Toyota GR-GT goes the turbo route, and it feels very different. The GR-GT is expected to push more than 600 horsepower in race trim. With turbo torque doing the heavy lifting, 0 to 100 is expected to be around a 3-second range. Its engine is built around forced induction, thermal management, and sustained load, not chasing a screaming red line. Instead of living above 7,000 RPMs, it makes most of its performance in the mid-range, where boost is already on tap. Torque comes in early and stays consistent, which means you're not constantly downshifting to stay in the power band. The engine is designed to stay stable under heat and repeated hard laps, rather than delivering one perfect lap and falling off. Power comes in smoothly, in a way that lets you focus more on braking points and corner exits than micromanaging RPM. And once you understand how each engine delivers its power, the next difference becomes impossible to ignore: how each car uses airflow to keep that power under control. Both of these cars rely heavily on aerodynamics, but they're not chasing the same goal. The way each brand uses airflow says a lot about how the car is meant to be driven at speed. So which one actually keeps you more confident as the speed builds? Porsche uses aerodynamics to sharpen what already works. The 911 GT3's aero is built around the car's natural balance, not to overpower it. The swan neck rear wing, functional front splitter, and carefully managed underbody airflow all work together to add downforce gradually as speed increases. Nothing feels sudden or dramatic. As the pace builds, the car simply feels more planted and more precise, especially through high-speed corners where stability matters most. Toyota treats aerodynamics as a core weapon. The GR-GT is designed around large aero surfaces from the very beginning, with a wide body, deep front splitter, aggressive rear diffuser, and a rear wing that's clearly inspired by endurance racing. Instead of subtle refinement, the goal is maximum stability at sustained high speed. The aero isn't just cutting airflow, it's pushing the car into the road, helping it stay calm during long, flat-out runs. And once aero stops being the main factor, the next thing you start feeling is how the car is actually put together underneath. Quick pause. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, hit like and subscribe. We do comparisons like this properly, with real numbers, real trade-offs, and no hype. And drop a comment. Are you taking the raw challenge of the GT3 or the confidence of the GR-GT? Alright, back to it. Once speed increases, what really starts to matter is how the car is built underneath. Chassis layout and weight distribution decide how confident the car feels when you're pushing hard. So when you're right at the limit, which one actually feels easier to trust? The 911 GT3 stays true to its rear-engine layout, and that shapes the entire driving experience. With most of the weight sitting over the rear axle, the car has incredible traction on corner exit, but it also demands respect on entry. Porsche balances this with a very stiff chassis, rear-wheel steering, and precise suspension tuning, so the car feels sharp and responsive rather than nervous. When you drive it well, everything clicks, and when you don't, the weight reminds you exactly where it's sitting. The Toyota GR-GT takes a more neutral approach. With a front mid-engine layout and a wider track, the weight is spread more evenly across the chassis. That gives the car a calmer, more predictable feel, especially at high speed. Instead of managing a heavy rear end, the focus is on balance and stability. You turn in, the car settles, and it stays composed even when the speed increases. One car rewards experience and precision, and the other builds confidence by staying neutral. And that difference shows up the moment you start pushing both cars hard. And here's the thing, once you feel that difference on track, the next question isn't about lap times anymore. It's about whether that experience is actually worth what these cars cost. At this level, pricing isn't just about affordability. It's about what you're actually paying for: performance, engineering, or the name on the hood. So when both cars are insanely capable, where does the money really go? The 911 GT3 sits firmly in six-figure territory, and a big part of that price comes from Porsche's legacy. You're paying for decades of refinement, motorsport credibility, and a car that holds its value better than almost anything else in this segment. Even used GT3s rarely feel used, and that exclusivity is built into the price. Toyota's GR-GT approaches pricing very differently. The expectation isn't luxury margins or collector appeal. It's performance value. Toyota isn't trying to outprice Porsche. It's just trying to undercut it while delivering comparable capability. The money goes into engineering, durability, and track performance, not brand prestige. One car charges you for history and polish, and the other charges you for how fast it can actually go. But the price tag is only the beginning. What really matters is how these cars hold up once you start owning them. Fast cars are fun for a weekend, but ownership gets real after years of heat cycles, track days, and maintenance bills. So which one is easier to live with in the long run? Owning a 911 GT3 in the long term means accepting its complexity. The engine is highly stressed, tolerances are tight, and maintenance is precise. Porsche builds it to perform at an elite level, but that also means upkeep isn't cheap. It's incredibly reliable when maintained properly, but it expects commitment from its owner. Toyota's GR-GT comes from a different mindset. Toyota designs performance cars to survive abuse, long stints, and real-world use. Cooling, reliability, and component longevity are prioritized because the car is expected to be driven hard, often, and without constant anxiety. It's built with endurance racing logic, not just perfect lap performance. After the ownership side of things, it comes down to what kind of driver you are. And this is where the comparison really flips, because the faster car on paper isn't always the one you'd actually choose to live with. After everything we've talked about, engines, aero, chassis, pricing, and ownership, this isn't about which car is better on paper, it's about which one actually fits the kind of driver you are. So when all the numbers stop mattering, which one would you actually choose? The 911 GT3 is built for drivers who want to feel everything. It rewards precision, experience, and commitment, and it expects you to meet at its level. If you enjoy chasing perfect laps, managing weight transfer, and staying fully involved every second, the GT3 delivers that connection like very few cars can. The Toyota GR-GT takes a different approach. It's designed to make you fast without constantly fighting the car. The balance is calmer, the power delivery is smoother, and the focus is on confidence and consistency. It's the kind of car that lets you keep pushing lap after lap without feeling like you're one mistake away from trouble. So whether you're drawn to the raw challenge of the GT3 or the confidence of the GR-GT, both cars prove that driver-focused performance is still very much alive. And if you want more videos that break down performance cars the same way, there's plenty more like this on the channel waiting for you. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe for more comparisons like this, and let us know in the comments which one you'd take and why.